July 30th, 2026. And ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona have received official notification of Atletico de Madrid's complaint. Yes. That bitch of a club has filed a complaint, and Barcelona have received notice of it. Also, Fistnik Aslani has now gained prominence amongst Barcelona's list. And finally, Cancelo did not show up to preseason training. What does that mean? I'm going to tell you all about it. We have a lot to discuss. So let's begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. And welcome to another short live. This is not a podcast. This is simply a short live to bring you all Barcelona news because today I had to work incredibly late, so I didn't have time to film, edit, and post. So instead, I'm bringing you this short live with Barcelona news. It started with that friendly match that I told you about. I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. But as you know by now, Barcelona are currently in England training at St. George's Park. And while they're in England, they're going to be playing two friendly matches, one tomorrow on July 31st against Birmingham City, and then another one against Preston North on August 3rd. After that, they will return to Barcelona, and then on August 8th, there will be a three-team tournament, both against Udinese and Nottingham Forest. And then, of course, we do have the August 19th Joan Gamper Trophy match, which marks the final friendly match of the preseason. However, Barcelona are currently in negotiations with another friendly match, and this has been officially confirmed. And it looks like Barcelona are currently in the final stages of negotiations. So it looks like this friendly match will happen, and it will take place on August 15th in Morocco, more specifically in Tangier, Morocco, against a local team where Barcelona are expected to make 5 million euros, which is, of course, very, very helpful because usually Barcelona participate in preseason tours, whether it be in the U.S. like 2 seasons ago or in Korea and South Japan. South Korea and Japan, not Korea and South Japan, but in Korea and Japan and South Korea like last summer. And during those preseasons, Barcelona usually make between 10 to 12 million euros in profit. This summer, there is no preseason tour because of the World Cup. So, of course, Barcelona have to find a way to make up for that money. And one of those ways to make up for that money will be this friendly match against Morocco, which is expected to make Barcelona around 5 million euros. Now, here's the good news. The good news on top of the good news is that it seems that Hansi Flick greenlit this friendly match because he wanted another friendly match to increase match sharpness of the team because, of course, a lot of players are currently still on vacation. Yes, Barcelona played a friendly match against CE Europa, where Barcelona won 4-1, but most of the players were missing there. Then we have a friendly match against Birmingham and Preston North. Again, most of the first-team players will be missing from those two friendly matches, which means there's going to be actually a lot of players are still going to be missing for the Udinese and Nottingham Forest matches because that's on August 8th. And, you know, all the players who played the final and the third and fourth place matches are not going to be back until August 10th. So that leaves them only with the Joan Gamper Trophy match. So that's only one friendly match for many of the first team players. So adding this friendly against Morocco would mean that many of the first team players would get to play 2 friendly matches. So this, of course, is good news because even though initially I was like, okay, we don't want to do a preseason tour because of the World Cup because we don't want the players tired. But then we're adding all these friendlies. This doesn't make sense. But now when you put it on to perspective, actually, many of the first-team players are not going to play many of these friendly matches. So adding this friendly in Morocco makes sense because many of these first-team players are only going to get this friendly match against Morocco and the Joan Gamper Trophy match as their only 2 preseason matches in preparation for the season. So that's a win. And you add on top of that the fact that Barcelona are going to make 5 million euros. That's double the win. Now, speaking of wins, let's move on to the next bit of news because Barcelona have secured another incredibly talented player currently in La Masia, who's no other than Nuhu Fofana. If you haven't heard of Nuhu Fofana, he's an 18-year-old striker who started out in Barcelona's academy at pre-Benjamin and Benjamin levels. He left Barcelona and then went to Sabadell's academy. Then he joined Cornella's academy, and now he is back again in Barcelona. So he did a full circle. He came back to Barcelona last summer where he played at the Juvenil A or the under 19 team last season where he scored 9 goals, during which he impressed Barcelona's coaches with many of the academy coaches liking him to Eto'o, saying, he's a very similar player to Eto'o. Tall, physical, very, very fast, great in front of goal, like a panther, if you want to describe it that way. But a player that's very, very similar to Eto'o, and he was able to impress his coaches, and now Barcelona have extended his contract until 2030. So 4 more seasons for Nuhu Fofana, which just goes to show how much trust Barcelona have in this youngster. Because usually, young players, they usually get 2-year extension, maybe 3 tops. This guy's getting 4-season extension, which just goes to show how promising he is and how much trust Barcelona have in him. So Nuhu Fofana, ladies and gentlemen, he will be fighting for that striker position at Barca Athletic for next season. So keep that name on your minds because I'm sure we're going to be talking about him more in the future. Now on to the next bit of news because today the Royal Spanish Football Federation notified Barcelona of the complaint of that bitch club called Atletico Madrid or Patético Madrid, which means pathetic Madrid. Because as you know by now, Atletico Madrid had submitted an official complaint to both the Royal Spanish Football Federation and FIFA, complaining that Barcelona had negotiated with Julian Álvarez when they weren't supposed to, right? Because under FIFA rules, under football rules, like the Royal Spanish Football Federation rules, you cannot directly negotiate with a player until they have 6 months left on their contract, which, of course, Julian Álvarez is far, far from that. So Atletico Madrid submitted a complaint to FIFA, which, as we know, FIFA doesn't have any jurisdiction of this. This is a dispute between a Spanish club versus another Spanish club. In fact, we know this because Patético Madrid also complained when Barcelona negotiated with Griezmann. FIFA ended up slapping Barcelona with a €300 fine. 300, not 300,000, 300. It was more of a symbolic fine than anything else. So we know FIFA have no jurisdiction over this. Who do have jurisdiction is the Royal Spanish Football Federation, which Atletico Madrid also submitted a complaint to. And today, the Royal Spanish Football Federation officially notified Barcelona of the submission of this complaint. And now Barcelona will have the opportunity to respond to this complaint by this bitch club called Patético Madrid. Now, Barcelona are not too worried about this complaint because their offer was officially made after Julian Álvarez made those statements that he wanted to leave. So, in other words, Barcelona's position is that these negotiations were not improper, that Julian had already notified Atletico Madrid that he wanted to leave. And then he made public statements that he wanted to leave. And only after that did Barcelona make an official offer for the player. So Barcelona's position is that, nothing improper was done. And therefore, there is nothing to, there were no rules violated. So we'll see where this goes. But just know that Patético Madrid just keeps becoming more and more of a joke with every single passing day. Anyways, on to that next bit of news, because speaking of Julian Álvarez, we do have to talk about Fistnik Aslani, the 23-year-old center forward from Kosovo who currently plays for Hamburg. He, of course, he had a very good season last season, scoring 10 goals and providing 9 assists. Someone that has been on Barcelona's radar, someone who's been wanting to come to Barcelona, saying time and time again that he's a Barcelona fan and that his dream is to play at Barcelona. He was set to move to Dortmund, but then he paused those negotiations, awaiting to see what happens with Ferran Torres. This is around the time that Ferran Torres that the reports were stating that Ferran Torres is set to join or negotiate with PSG. Then what's the name? Leipzig came very very close to signing him. He also has put a pause on negotiations with Leipzig as well to see what happens with Barcelona's interest. And well, the news is that Fistnik Aslani has now become more of a strong option for Barcelona. Now, of course, Barcelona's number one option remains Julian Álvarez. But if Julian Álvarez doesn't happen, their next option or their number one option after that was, of course, Krupi. But two things happened with Krupi. On one hand, Bournemouth said that he's not for sale. So that kind of ruled this operation out. And then, of course, right after that, Krupi suffered an injury. He underwent surgery. He's going to be out for the next 5 to 6 months, which means that this operation is for sure gone. So now that Krupi is not an option for Barcelona anymore, Fistnik Aslani has definitely moved his way up on the priority list for Barcelona, with Barcelona seriously considering Fistnik Aslani if the Julian Álvarez signing doesn't happen, especially because he meets that profile that Barcelona looks for, or that Hansi Flick is looking for in a center forward, because he, at 192 meters tall, he provides, physical presence plus mobility, and he also presses very aggressively. And then, of course, he offers strong aerial threat. So that's kind of like the profile that Flick is looking for. Plus, not to mention his release clause is 29 million euros. So between Fistnik Aslani kind of fitting that profile that Barcelona is looking for, plus having a release clause worth 29 million euros, and with Krupi out of the way due to his injury and due to Bournemouth not wanting to sell him, Fistnik Aslani has now become kind of like a strong option for Barcelona in case the Julian Álvarez deal doesn't happen. Which, of course, my question to you is, do you think Barcelona should sign Fistnik Aslani? Yes, no, maybe? Let me know down below in the comment section. And then we'll end today's video with the news that Joao Cancelo did not report to training yesterday. Now, Cancelo was set to report yesterday, July 29th, to the preseason with Al Hilal in Austria. Al Hilal are currently in Austria, and it seems like he did not report to the preseason training, which of course has one clear implication, and that is that Barcelona are very, very close to finalizing the signing. Of course, Cancelo has made it very clear that he wants to sign for Barcelona. Barcelona have decided that they want to sign Joao Cancelo. Al Hilal initially were hesitant to his selling him, but now they have green lit the exit of Joao Cancelo. So Barcelona are currently in advanced negotiations with Al Hilal for the signing of Joao Cancelo, where it's expected that this deal will close around something like 10 million euros, because initially Barcelona only wanted to pay 5 million. Al Hilal wanted 15 million. So it looks like it's going to close something around 10 million euros. And well, Joao Cancelo was supposed to show up to the preseason. He didn't, which means that Barcelona and Al Hilal are very, very, very close to finalizing this deal. So like I said before, whether it be tomorrow, whether it be next week, or whether it be on August 31st, Joao Cancelo will be a Barcelona player. He will become the third signing of the summer transfer market, right after Anthony Gordon and Karim Adeyemi. Anyways, that is all the news. Again, I did this short live just so I can bring you Barcelona news, because I had to work very late, so I didn't have time to film, edit, and post. But of course, tomorrow is Friday, so tomorrow is podcast day. So tomorrow I will be reading you guys' comment and reacting to them live. So I'll see you guys in tomorrow's podcast. I will be making that post about the giveaway tonight. I know I was supposed to make it last night, but I got pretty busy. I will be making it tonight, so stay tuned to the Instagram page and Twitter page. But anyways, that is all. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Peace, guys.